What's up guys, Ryan here from Mudgunner, and today we are talking suppressors again. So I've talked about suppressors a few times on my channel. If you didn't know, I'm pretty big into them. And I've just been acquiring a lot more knowledge and information on suppressors over these last couple of years. I've been adding a lot to my suppressor collection, and as it grows, I'm going to constantly learn new things, and I'll try to share that with you guys. In the last year, I've acquired a few more 30 cal suppressors, and my goal has always been to run my 30 cal suppressors on 5.56 guns because in my head, I knew they were going to be a little bit lower back pressure because it kind of works like a flow-through can. I have a 5.56 can here and a 30 cal, but you basically have a bigger hole in the front to allow some gas to escape, and I think everyone gets in their head that it's not going to be quiet on a 5.56, but what you got to realize is 5.56 is not quiet to begin with, even with a 5.56 can. And I've done a few videos now, and I'll post some clips here and there throughout this video. But honestly, a 30 cal can next to a 5.56 can, it is so close in like decibels or noise to your ear that you really don't notice sound-wise. But what I do notice is like lower back pressure on the gun, so it's going to have a little bit less recoil. And I can feel a recoil difference specifically with my Surefire RC2 here on this SCAR 16 versus the 7.62. And you'll notice these are the exact same. Oh, that sucks. Shit happens. You'll notice these are the exact same size suppressors, but this one is a 5.56 and that one is a 30 cal. And I definitely notice that it's lower back pressure. My poor L can. It's okay though. Just barely nicked the MCX. But yeah. So I'm a big fan of 30 caliber cans. I always have been. My very first suppressor was this one right here. This is the Silencer Co. Omega, and I would say I bought this back in 2018, and I think this was my only can for, well, no, I bought a 45 can like shortly after that. So I think this was my only rifle can for about 2 or 3 years, maybe 2 years. And yeah, this is my only rifle can for a few years, and I ran this, and I still run this on my SCAR 17, which is a 308, Daniel Defense 5.56, my very first AR-15, and then I actually also have it for my Tavor. Those are the only 3 guns I currently have that are set up for this. I also had a 16-inch Daniel Defense at one point. I'm running it on a 12.5-inch SBR right now, but yeah, this was my main suppressor rifle-wise for years. The next rifle can that I got after this, as far as I remember, was my Honey Badger, which was a dedicated 300 blackout setup. So this was my do-it-all can for 5.56 and 308, and you'll notice it's actually still in really good shape. Now you'll notice some people, their cans look really rough pretty quickly, and one thing that I've tried to do is take care of the suppressors because, I mean, they were a long wait to get, and yeah, I never wanted to destroy it. I've had it get stuck a couple times. The very first range day I took it out, I had a black glove and I was just checking to make sure it's tight, and I literally burned an entire glove print onto it. But yeah, that took a minute to take off. But besides that, I do try to keep my cans fairly clean. And I would say if you're new to it, one way to take care of your suppressor, not mag dumping it is going to help. When you get the cans extremely hot, you'll definitely burn the finish in certain spots. Now this is definitely darker than when I bought it, but you'll notice some cans have really dark rings depending on wherever it heats up first. I've seen some at the muzzle, some in the middle, some at the back end. But if you mag dump your suppressor, you're gonna affect the finish first of all, and then just the more you do that, you are, like, I guess, wearing it out in a way. I know a lot of rifle cans are rated for quite a few rounds. Grantham did a video years ago talking about how his Surefire can was at like 40,000+ rounds. So they are rated for like longevity, even during high use stuff. Some better than others. Like I would say Surefire is probably going to be more durable than the Silencer Co. here, and probably more durable than the Dead Air here. So Loki, we're trying to record a YouTube video. Yeah, Surefire, and even like just shooting these, feeling them, Surefire definitely feels the most solid. And if you're gonna abuse your suppressor, I mean, this is probably the way to go. But so far I like all of these, and it's not even that I don't like, it's not that I don't abuse them. I just, like, I don't have like high fire strings, if that makes sense. I don't own a full auto. I have friends that own full autos, or FFLs that own full autos, because if you're an FFL, you can have a full auto AR, no problem. But one thing that I notice some of my other friends doing when we do these big group shoots is they'll put their upper on the full auto lower, because everyone wants to try out their kit, and they'll just mag dump their suppressors. And you can do that, but I'm not in a position where I necessarily need to. In my head, I know the suppressor is rated for a couple mags of full auto, but even Surefire states in their manual that you shouldn't do a mag dump of more than like 60 to 90 rounds. So 2 or 3 mags, they don't really recommend or rate it for after that. So that's the crazy thing with suppressors. Even though this is a military duty rated can, they don't want you to mag dump it more than 3 times. And I've definitely seen videos where people are mag dumping it way more than 3 times. But if you think about it, this isn't meant to be a machine gun suppressor. It's capable of it, but it's really just meant for small arm stuff like semi-auto rifles for the most part. So, how hot is it?
It's a forbidden popsicle.
Is it? Yeah, but durability wise, so far I really like the Surefire. And this is an RC2. This is the 7.62 Mini on the SCAR 16 here. But I've come to realize over the years, and I've always known that this was a pretty good option, was I really like running 7.62 cans on my 5.56s. I think there's more pros than there are cons, because again, decibel wise, it's gonna sound the exact same as a 5.56 can. But you open up your doors to more calibers that you could suppress, lower back pressure and wear on your 5.56 guns, and yeah, it just, I think those are some pretty big pros versus cons. Weight-wise, I mean, sometimes they weigh a little bit more, but I have a Dead Air Sandman S here, I have the Surefire RC2 5.56. They're so similar, and I think people, they like look at weight on like text, and they're like, oh my gosh, that weighs 22 ounces where this one weighs 19 ounces. Are you really gonna notice it that much on your gun? Because chances are, if you make a heavy gun, you make a heavy gun. But, so I mean, maybe this with a, I'm dropping everything. Like this with an L can and some other stuff, yeah, it's gonna get heavy. But this, to me, is still a light gun. Like this is still lighter than a 308, still lighter than what, you know, our soldiers carry overseas. Like, cause it's not just the gun that they're carrying, it's everything. So I think a lot of, like us on the civilian side are just so worried about the textbook, you know, weight of the gun, like that they don't really think that, you know, if you're in a combat scenario, you're carrying more than just a gun. So just my 2 cents. I don't mind heavy guns. They shoot nice and they recoil a lot less than a super light gun. So yeah, 30 cal for the win. Some things that I'd like to do for you guys is I want to compare a lot of 5.56 cans on Mark 18s. So my plan by the end of this year, hopefully, is to have about 4 Mark 18 setups, all with different suppressors to run on there for you. That way we can kind of show a real comparison, like of, you know, 5 and mostly 30 cal cans. We're going to do the Surefire RC2, the Surefire 7.62, the Dead Air Sandman S, and then a OSS Helix QD, because I bought a OSS Helix QD, which is a 30 cal flow-through can. Now that will be my actual first flow-through can, because the technology of a flow-through can is different than most of these. But I've always just, you know, these work similarly to a flow-through can, a 30 cal on a 5.56. But yeah, we're gonna show at some point on this channel, hopefully this year, a bunch of different Mark 18s, all with a variety of different suppressors. And honestly, the 30 cals are gonna hold up just as well as the 5.56s. But it's kind of hard to beat a Mark 18 with an RC2 on there. It looks really clean. But this 7.62 one will look just as clean. And then the other pros of 30 cal, which I talked about a lot on the channel as well, is suppressing. I have a really cool suppressor video going up tomorrow where we shoot the SIG Rattler next to the Q Honey Badger, next to the Daniel Defense PDW. All of them are subsonic 300 blackout suppressed, and they work really well. Now steel. This is a really good first suppressor if you're looking for one. This is a Dead Air Sandman S, and I only use this for 5.56s right now, but my buddy was running this on his Daniel Defense PDW, and it's extremely quiet on a 300 blackout, and it works really well on a 5.56. I'll show you a clip. Steel. So I have a video of Dead Air Sandman S versus the L, which is a little bit longer, all on 5.56s. I have a video of that from a couple months ago. And then I have a video of the Surefire RC2, 7.62, and the 5.56 on 5.56s from a couple months ago. And then I recently did a video on the SIG Virtus, where my buddy and I are each running 30 cal suppressors on our Virtuses. So this is a SIG SRD 7.62. So again, 30 cal suppressor on a 5.56. Originally, I was running this can on here, but I didn't like how I had to get to it because it was under the rail. So to remove it, you have to remove it at the collar. But to get to the collar was kind of a process on here. So now we just have a direct thread 30 cal Q suppressor on here, and then we're running this SRD 7.62 on the 5.56. So yeah, this one I just hand twisted off and I can get to it very easily. On here, it still gets a little carbon locked, and you'll notice that with almost any suppressor you buy. There's mounts that I like I really like the Surefire mounts, but I've noticed almost any suppressor can get stuck to whatever mounting device it has. Direct thread suppressors are nice. I don't have experience with 556 direct thread suppressors yet, but I did buy 2 of them, so we'll have those on the channel here at some point. They are more retro cans, though. They don't make them anymore. So yeah, all my experience as of right now is with quick detach 556 suppressors, but I do have 2 direct thread Q suppressors for my 300 blackout. And honestly, you'll notice I can always take this off with my hand and tighten it with my hand, but it's never backed off. This one I haven't had as long, but my Honey Badger I've had for years, and I've never had an issue with direct thread backing off. But it is a tapered barrel with a tapered suppressor, so you don't have a 90-degree shoulder to a 90-degree shoulder like a muzzle device, like a muzzle brake to your barrel. So the taper really creates a seal that prevents it from backing off on the gun. But the 556, one of the 556 suppressors I'm getting, there's no taper, so it's just a 90-degree shoulder to a 90-degree shoulder, but I don't think that's going to be as superior as that way of direct thread. But quick detach is normally pretty good. You just got to make sure your mounts are solid. There's a variety of mounts that have failed, so I like the Dead Air Sandmans. I haven't had any issues with mine, but a lot of my friends have had mounts fail, and we've had to send a lot back. But even like Silencer Co., this mount hasn't failed me yet, but it gets stuck. And the one issue I've had with this can is sometimes you're trying to take the can off, and you separate the can from the mount itself. So the mount will get stuck on the gun, but then you take the can off. Or Surefire, their mount is attached to the can. So you're not getting one thing stuck on the gun unless you get the whole can stuck on the gun. And I do rock set all my muzzle devices. To me, I think it's important. I know some people don't care to, but I rock set my muzzle devices so I don't ever take the muzzle device off with the can, because that would suck if you have a stuck can on a can stuck on a muzzle device, but then you unscrew the muzzle device. So yeah, all my muzzle devices get rock setted on there, and then nothing's ever been permanent to get stuck on here, but like this one right now, just the way it mounts, it is kind of stuck on there. But I dedicated this can to this gun at this point because it's a very specific muzzle device. I only have one for my 5.56 and one for a 30 cal, and they don't make this suppressor anymore. They're onto their newer one. So yeah, I like it on here. And again, I'm gonna be a big advocate for 30 cal suppressors on 5.56s, and then they work really well with 30 caliber as well. So 7.62x51 or your 308 and 300 blackout. Watch my video on 300 blackouts tomorrow because they are so quiet and so much fun to shoot. And yeah, besides that, just again, I like talking suppressors, and we are going to have some more on the channel here soon. And yeah, as I learn more, I'll kind of share with you guys, but I really am a fan of 30 caliber suppressors on 5.56s right now. And then we're going to have some flow through cans on the channel here soon. So looking forward to actually shooting with those because I don't have any long-term experience with it. I've shot them before, but just not my own personal stuff. But yeah, this is new on this gun for this year, and this is new for this gun this year. And so far, I'm really digging them. These are some of my favorite setups. I do like a Mark 18 with the Surefire can, so if you buy a 5.56 can, there's nothing wrong with it. They are still good. I just am a fan of the 30 cal. And as far as 5.56 cans goes, I only have 2 right now. I have this RC2, and then I have this Otter Creek OCM5 here, which is on my Type A Gordon carbine. So this is dedicated to this gun because it's a very specific style of mounting. It is a direct thread can, but it's not just threaded onto your muzzle brake, or not your muzzle brake, but your threaded barrel. This is threaded onto a muzzle device and collar. So this is on your barrel, and then so is this collar. So it's a very specific mounting system. It's an old style of mounting system, but it still works really well. But this is not quieter than my 30 cal suppressors. So even though it's a big 5.56 can, it's not the quietest can I own for a 5.56. So I do like them. I plan on getting more 5.56 cans for specific guns, and I'm at a point where I'm starting to dedicate suppressors now. But I didn't just do that overnight. Like, again, my Silencer Co. Omega 300 was my only rifle can for years until I started getting into a position where I could suppress more guns. And then, yeah, just it takes time to build up, I know, but start with 30 cal cans and you'll be able to run it on a variety of guns. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for my next video.